Hello there. What's going on, you guys? Today I'm going to be bringing to you a new list in Legion using Tabletop Admiral's Legion List Builder, and this is a really nice tool. I will put a link to it in the description below. But what we're going to be doing today is doing a Rebel build focused on the Rebel Officer and what new options they give you. And the Rebel Officer is your first, generic commander for the Rebels, and very, very cool option here is that it's very weak but also very cheap. So if you'll notice it's not available right now, that's because it's currently unreleased. So one of the things you'll want to do if you want to test build with unreleased cards is click this little show unreleased units and upgrades button right there. And if you notice, that actually opens up a whole lot of extra stuff. So now that that's opened up, what we're going to do is we're going to add our Rebel Officer over here. Now the Rebel Officer is going to have only 4 health, but it's only 50 points, so it's very, very cheap. Not a whole lot of extra stuff. But now, one thing we do need to be concerned with is if our opponent is running something like Boba Fett, we're going to have Bounty, and he's probably going to try and take out our Rebel Officer. So one thing I might want to put on is Esteemed Leader to kind of help keep this Rebel Officer alive. I'll put Esteemed Leader on there. Maybe just give him the option to have some people guard for him, because we don't want an opponent to get extra victory points in a very close match. Now, the thing that's important about this is now that we've got such a cheap commander, we can really open up the space for having a very competitive list with a whole lot of troops. So I'm going to start with our bare bones trooper, our regular Rebel trooper. And one of the things that makes the Rebel trooper so good in my eyes is the Z6. Because you're getting 6 white dice for 1 extra trooper. That's more than the whole unit combined, or more potential damage, more than a full unit of stormtroopers. And so, approximately the same as a full unit of stormtroopers, because considering you're going to have your Rebel trooper roll also. So just a very, very strong unit. And we'll also we'll be upgrading these with the Rebel trooper as well. Really a strong unit. Now you don't have to just run these. The Rebel Officer actually allows you a phenomenal amount of upgrades. You could run bare bones Rebel Troopers. You wouldn't even be at half of your points for your list if you did you maxed out at 6 Rebel Troopers with no upgrades. And you could max out support and special forces and still have points to spare. So there is potential here for tremendous. As a matter of fact, before I do that, I just want to show you just how much we could fit, and I'll wipe them out afterwards. So if we went with 6, and we're at 5 right there. We have 6 core right now. A leader and 6 core is only 295. So if we went with the cheapest options for everything, just to show you, we have ATRT. We put 3 ATRTs in there, bare bones. We're only at 460. That's already 10 units, and we're just a little over half. So, in theory, if we wanted to max out special forces, the cheapest would be strike teams, and the cheapest option there legally would be this proton charge saboteur. We can add 3 of those. Then we'd be at 586. So that's already 13, and we can fit a 14th in here. I don't think we can fit the snow speeder at this point, because that's going to put us. Nope. Yeah, we can bring that up to 761. We can fit that in here too. So and then we have some points left over. So if we really want to go crazy, we can do that. But let's remove everything else and actually show you the list I came up with, because it is a little more balanced. It's a little more actually competitive than just running a whole bunch of non-upgraded units. So we are going to do the Rebel Trooper, and but I'm going to give him some upgrades. We're going to go with the Z6 because it's incredibly strong, always good. We'll go with the Rebel Trooper upgrade, and then I'm going to also put fragmentation grenades. I've actually used these lately on Rebel Troopers, and it's just a really, really nice upgrade. Rebel Troopers are great at range because they got that Z6, but if you get up close, they're going to become potentially even better, because you just toss 1 red die in there, or as many red dice as you want, and then you're going to gain that surge to crit. I might still run the Z6 Trooper as is, because surge to crit is going to be really, really nice here, and it also makes them potentially damaging against vehicles. So we'll run fragmentation grenades on those. I'm going to make 6 of these guys, but I will change the 6th one. So we do have, I just hit the duplicate, and that's another thing I really like about this list builder, is you've got the duplicate option, so you can just copy your dudes. So one of the things I want to do here is I want to go ahead and change out the Rebel Trooper on the top one. And let's say I actually picked up 2 of the Rebel Officer packs. One of the other things that that's going to give you is going to give you some other alternate personnel. So I don't just have to add a Rebel Trooper. I can add a Rebel Comms Technician if I want to do that, which will give me the comm upgrade, or the Rebel Officer upgrade. And that's the one that I really want to focus on right now because it's going to be, it's going to give you an extra leader. He's going to take the place of your leader. But he's going to also give you Inspire 1, so it helps you clear out suppression. When you got a whole lot of troops on the ground, clearing out suppression will be a nice thing to have. And so I am definitely looking forward to that. So the Rebel Officer is going to go on board on one of them. And he's a little more expensive, so we don't want to just, drop Rebel Officers everywhere. But it is a nice upgrade. It'll definitely help support you, especially if you have a cheaper commander that could, in theory, die. That makes him maybe a good option for your new commander. All right, so now that we've got our core out of the way, and we already have 7 units, which is pretty good. We got 6 core maxed out there, and they're all really good core outfitted, really good core units. Now we have a lot of points left over. We can think about adding some other things. So I will go with the cheapest special forces. Now, granted, we also have Pathfinders coming out, and they might be a great option as well. But we kind of need to wait until we see a little bit more out of them. But yeah, they look like they're going to be pretty solid. We've got some good surge and everything. We've got our Wookiees. Wookiees are a lot of fun. Nothing wrong with the Wookiees at all. But I think I'm going to go for a little bit on the cheap here. And we're going to go with Strike Team. We're going to go with Rebel Commandos. And we're going to go with the Rebel Commando Strike Team because they are cheaper. And we're trying to focus on how much we can fit. But instead of the Proton Charge Saboteur, who is a little cheaper, I'm not as big a fan of the Charge Saboteur because they have to get up and close, and with only 2 people in the strike team, I feel like they may not actually do their job. So I think a sniper is more likely to actually be able to do their job. And plus, you won't have to worry about issuing them commands as much because they'll be off in the distance. So you can just issue commands to your regular Rebel troopers. Or you could just keep your officer back by your snipers and issue them commands that way. So we'll go ahead and we're going to actually make 3 of these. So 3 sniper strike teams, which is a lot. Now we have a lot of units. Now we have 10, and we're only 658. So that is not bad at all. Not bad at all. Now, one of the other things we're going to look at is we've got some points left over, and we have to think about what's going to be really the best. Now, one of the things you could do is you could probably run. You can't run 3 ATRTs at this point because I did upgrade my troopers a little bit. If you want to run 3 ATRTs, you can do that. I would just drop the extra personnel upgrades. I'd drop all the Rebel troopers and maybe the Rebel officer upgrade. I'd keep the Z6 because you're getting a lot of value for the Z6. But I'd drop those extra personnel upgrades off of the Rebels and add 3 ATRTs. Probably some of them would have to be unupgraded, and I'm not really a big fan of doing that. I will do it sometimes, but an ATRT with no upgrades is not that great. It still does have a ranged weapon. A lot of people forget that. The ATRT still has that 2 white die, but it's not the greatest thing. But it is 360. It's not a fixed front. But usually you want to have a hard point upgrade on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go with the FD cannon laser teams, and because they're just good on their own. I've got more than enough troopers to go and take objectives, and the ATRT is not going to be able to take many objectives anyway. So this is going to help kind of cover my rear, especially if I'm going to have some snipers kind of perched up somewhere. This will I can put this a little farther forward of the snipers, and I can really have a lot of concentrated fire on somebody moving into a certain avenue. And I think that'll be actually effective. So we'll put 2 of those on there, and that's going to bring us up to 798. And that's the build. So we've got the officer with esteemed leader. We've got trooper Z6 frag with the officer upgrade, and then we've got 5 more trooper Z6 frags with the rebel trooper. We've got 3 strike teams with the sniper and 2 FD laser cannon teams with no upgrades. I think these are a great support that don't need to be upgraded, and if you don't upgrade them, then they're going to end up being cheaper than an ATRT. But if you upgrade the ATRT with a hard point, that will end up being more expensive. If you want to run an ATRT naked, then go for it. But yeah, I don't think you really need. Also, the fact that they're troopers, You have that whole, you have some really cool, if you happen to somehow manage to get the Scout 1 and you can deploy them and, maybe future objectives that'll help. I just think, I like having a lot of troopers. It's better. I think the Imperials get the better end of the stick here, though, because at least their emplacement troopers can move. So if you needed to move them to take an objective, you have the better option. But this is just, and you could kind of copy this same type of build over for the Empire and follow the same. You'd have to make a few smaller tweaks, but the same principle holds, and that by just using this generic officer, you can really maximize the number of units in your list and still have points left over to upgrade them and make them really, really good. So we're looking at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 activations in this list. That's really strong. Really strong. And they're not all garbage activations like non-upgraded troopers or non-upgraded ATRTs. They're actually all meaty activations that are going to be useful. So I'll put a link to this. As far as command cards, you're going to have to go with all 6 generics. Again, we know the Rebel Officers packs coming with extra generics, so that's about it. All right, guys, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you like this build, and it's not really about the build as much as it is about the options that the generic commander is going to open up for you. I can't wait for this pack to come out, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.